Listen, I was at Super Bowl Media Day. I listened to Saquon Barkley talk, and he said something to Jameis Winston that I said, gosh, months ago. Said that he thought that the Giants could use a Jameis Winston right now, and I respected it. Why? Because I said it. I'm Coach Gene Clemons from Radio Row at the Super Bowl, and I have a giant issue. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another edition of A Giant Issue. I'm Coach Gene Clemons, New York Giants on SI. That's where you get all of your New York Giants news and information. Make sure you go there. Make sure that you check out everything that's going on. Hopefully, you've been seeing my reviews from the Senior Bowl and the Shrine Bowl, my risers, my fallers. Make sure that you're checking out everything that I'm doing over there at New York Giants on SI, and definitely keep it locked this week. You're going to get a few podcasts while I'm down here in New Orleans, taking in the Super Bowl. Saquon Barkley on the precipice of arguably the greatest running back season ever. Fans are going to get, well, I should say Giants fans are going to have to get comfortable with the fact that if he pulls this off, it's a magical year. Well, it's already been a magical year for Saquon, but it's going to be an even bigger year for Saquon if he's able to pull this off. But I wanted to get back to what we were talking about because I've heard a lot of people like commenting on Jameis Winston and acting as if it would be a bad idea to bring in Jameis Winston. First off, I want to say there's two things about Jameis Winston that all Giants fans should know. Number one, he would be a great bridge quarterback. This is why. He is not somebody who thinks that he is unable to get the job done. He is going to operate as if he is going to have a Pro Bowl year as a quarterback. You know what you're going to get from Jameis Winston? You're going to get deep passes. You're going to get balls thrown. You're going to get balls thrown confidently. Will they sometimes be like overly confident and end up in an interception? Absolutely. But tell me if you wouldn't sign up for a Jameis Winston 4,000-yard passing, 30-plus touchdowns, 15 to 18 interceptions. Like, tell me you wouldn't sign up for that, because I'm here to tell you that if Jameis Winston comes in and plays a full season, right, not where they try to like snape him and take the job away from him, but if he played a full season, you're probably going to get somewhere around 15 to 18 interceptions, over 30, probably somewhere around 35 touchdowns, and over 4,000 yards. Why? Because he just knows how to get the ball in the hands of the guys who should have the ball. Remember, before Jameis Winston took over at quarterback for Cleveland, Jerry Jeudy was in witness protection. Like, nobody knew what had happened to Jerry Jeudy. Everybody thought, oh, well, look, they went to get Jerry Jeudy from Denver. Look at what Denver's doing. Jerry Jeudy is just another guy. And from the moment Jameis Winston took over, Jerry Jeudy went from being just another guy to a guy who could be an elite number one receiver in the league. Like, that's how big of a difference it was. Now imagine putting him with Malik Neighbors, who I believe is a better all-around talent than what Jerry Jeudy is. Imagine letting Jameis Winston be the guy getting the ball to Wan'Dale Robinson. Imagine you could get something out of Jalen Hyatt as a deep threat because you have a guy like Jameis Winston now to be able to throw the ball to him down the field. It opens up so many opportunities, right? It opens up so many opportunities that you can't deny the impact that somebody like Jameis Winston would have on an offense. So then the question becomes, why wouldn't everybody be down with this? It's because the perception of Jameis Winston is worse than the reality of Jameis Winston. Hey, can somebody tell me why it is that Jameis Winston is beloved by all of his teammates? Is it just because he's a funny guy? Or does he have an innate ability to lead, an innate ability to be the commander of the ship, somebody who is willing to take responsibility when responsibility needs to be taken? There's a lot of people, a lot of quarterbacks out there that anytime there's something going wrong, people point the finger everywhere but the quarterback. But with Jameis Winston, if something goes wrong, you know what he does? He points the finger at himself. He talks about how he needs to get better, what he needs to do to be better. All of that is going to help you as a fan have a more enjoyable season while you either allow your rookie quarterback to slowly ingratiate himself into the NFL, or while you're waiting until next season to then attack a quarterback. Make no mistake about it. This Giants team this year, 2025, they need to be competitive. They need to be fighting for a playoff spot. Do I think they need to make the playoffs in order for everybody to keep their job? No. But they need to look like a competent team that is on the ascent. And Jameis Winston is good enough to get that done for you. Jameis Winston has the ability to get you to the level that you're trying to get to from that standpoint. Is he going to win you a championship? Probably not. But guess what? The Giants aren't at a situation where they're looking for championship or bust. They're looking for relevance, right? They're looking for relevance. They're looking to be relevant. They're looking to make a name for themselves. They're looking to see the young talent that they have, which they do have, even though a lot of you like to act as if there's no talent on this team, right? They need the opportunity to watch that young talent grow, watch that young talent like multiply, watch that young talent get better. And Jameis Winston, who's unselfish, isn't going to be all about himself. He's going to be all about the other guys. That's the special part about Jameis Winston that no one talks about. He loves to see the best for everyone else. He sees the best in everyone else. Those tight ends that you haven't been able to get a whole lot out of over these last few years, they have an opportunity to be good with a Jameis Winston. Why? Because Jameis Winston's going to trust them and throw them the ball if they're open. Those wide receivers that you're looking to see take the next step, that you want to see go from a below 10 yards per reception average to an above 10, maybe 14 to 16 yards per reception average. Guess what they do under Jameis Winston? They do just that. The type of vitriol that Jameis Winston receives is simply based off of a narrative that was created because he had one bad season. Like, make no mistake about it, Jameis Winston has only ever had one bad season, and that bad season was 5,000 yards, 35 plus touchdowns, or 34 touchdowns, 30 interceptions. It's only the turnovers that made the season bad. The yards, all-time great. The touchdowns, they're up there with the elite, right? So all of that being what it is, why would you not want a Jameis Winston to be in the fold? Why would you not want a Jameis Winston to be the guy that you're looking to bring in and have success with? That makes no sense to me. Here's the other thing that we don't talk enough about on why Jameis Winston would be a great fit for the Giants. He's going to be comfortable in whatever role you give him. So if he's the bridge quarterback, cool. If that bridge is a full season, cool. If that bridge is 4 to 5 games so that he can get the seat warm for whoever the rookie is that you're bringing in, he's going to be great. If that is in a backup role, right, where he has to sit back and play the number 2 guy and be the mentor for a young up and coming guy, guess what? He's going to be willing to do that as well. The unselfishness of Jameis Winston is not simply as a starter, but is as a teammate. What better if you want an offense where you want the quarterback to drive the ball down the field? What better mentor than Jameis Winston? If you want an offense where the quarterback isn't afraid to cut it loose and just make a decision, what better quarterback than Jameis Winston? If you want your quarterback to be fearless, if you want somebody that's not afraid to take a hit, pop up, and keep going, what better teacher and mentor than Jameis Winston? Playing through injuries, what better mentor than Jameis Winston? If you want your quarterback to understand when to use their athleticism, whatever level of athleticism that is, in order to make plays, what better example to have than Jameis Winston? He checks all the boxes, right? He checks all the boxes for what you want in a mentor, right? You want somebody who understands about making mistakes and having to continue to go forward. That's Jameis Winston. You want somebody who understands what it means to fail in the public eyes, but still have to continue to move forward. That's Jameis Winston. You want somebody who understands what it's like to be immature as a quarterback and then to gain that maturity as they get older. Someone who can be a mentor and maybe help a young quarterback navigate those waters. That's Jameis Winston. At every single turn, Jameis Winston is the guy that you would want in your locker room as the mentor. So not only does he help you, right, bring in or identify or exhibit the identity that you want for your quarterback, the mentality that you want for your quarterback, but he's going to help you if for some reason he has to be your quarterback. To me, it's a slam dunk. Because he is somebody that isn't going to cost you as much, you have all that money in free agency that you can then spend to make the team better around him and or whomever the starting quarterback is. There's no losers in this situation, right? There's no losers in this situation. And this does not have to be a one season thing because Jameis Winston is not some 36-year-old, like 37-year-old journeyman quarterback. This is an early 30s quarterback who still has plenty of dip on the chip, plenty of juice in the tank. Why? Because he's been sitting as a backup since he came from Tampa Bay. He's had some injuries that aren't injuries that are debilitating. They're injuries that kept him out for long rehabs. So he doesn't have as many hits on the body. He doesn't have as much wear and tear on the body, and he's still learning. He's still growing. He still wants to be the best he can be. He wants to mentor because that's just part of his personality. It's a great fit. I look around at some of the things that I read about why people don't like him or don't want him. And I continually go, well, what do you want? Right? What more do you want? And it's some wild stuff that you hear. Like if I go to X right now and I just type in Jameis Winston, right? Jaboo wins. That's his X handle, if anybody's wondering. That's his X handle. But if I just type in Jameis Winston, um, it's it's interesting because a lot of why the people who like him, is because of how like funny he is, or how gregarious he is, how comedic he can be. But anytime we start talking about um football, right? Every time we start talking about football, people seem to forget that this man just knows how to slang the football, right? He just understands how to get the ball to the best receivers. So, like when I look at all of these things, it, it, it's a dichotomy. It's two things, right? It's either people who love the character of Jameis Winston, or it's people who hate the idea of Jameis Winston as their quarterback. And I'm telling you, flip the switch. Like, love the character and and love what he can do or he can be for you beyond just the character, right? Love the character, but then love the player as well. Again, I'm not saying he should be your guy for the next 5 to 7 years, but he could be a part of your team for the next 5 years, right? Like that's the part that I think people don't give enough credence to. Like he might not be your starting quarterback, but he could be an integral part of your team for the next 4 to 5 years. If Jameis Winston was to come to New York and spend the next 5 years as the backup quarterback for the New York Giants, you would have one of the best backup quarterbacks in the league because you got a guy who has the ability to be a starter. That is a rarity. Most of the guys who are playing as backups, they have never been starters for a prolonged period of time. And so we're only projecting what they might be able to do. You know where that's not the case at? It's not the case with Tyrod Taylor in New York or wherever he ends up at. And that's not the case for Jameis Winston. I just want you to think about where else, right? Where else are you going to find a starting level talent like a Jameis Winston? Again, outside of Tyrod Taylor, which even in that case, Tyrod Taylor is much older, right? So I think when we look at what he can be for this Giants team, we just don't give enough credence to like his abilities, right? As a quarterback. I want you to think about something, right? In 2019, that was Jameis Winston's last year starting for the Buccaneers. They went 7-9, right? But they lost 6 games by one score, right? That was the season that Jameis Winston threw 30 interceptions, but he also threw 7 pick sixes, right? So if he has half of those, they probably win. They probably win 3 of those 6 games. They're now 10-6. Jameis Winston doesn't lose his job. They come back the next year where now Jameis Winston has a second year in that offense, which he has rarely had. He's rarely ever had multiple years in the same offense. maybe they go into the draft and draft an offensive lineman, which they hadn't done in the first round, right? Maybe they go out and improve the weaponry for Jameis Winston. Maybe they go out and improve the offensive line for Jameis Winston. And just maybe, if he doesn't win the Super Bowl, maybe they still go. Like we discount so much the fact that when Tom Brady got there, they put so many more like positive pieces in place for him, right? That we forget that so much. Like he had the red carpet rolled out for him in a sense to be able to get to the Super Bowl. A lot of that stuff was never given to Jameis Winston. And so now if you give Jameis Winston the opportunity to have that level of cachet, that level of talent, what can he do? What would he be able to accomplish in that situation? That's what I want to know. Right? So does he, and then last year, right? Last year, he threw a lot of interceptions, but he threw for a lot of yards. He threw for a lot of touchdowns. It was always exciting. For all of the interceptions that he had, they were still in football games. Something that you cannot like discount. So can somebody reel in, right? Help him to be the best version of himself. I think all of those things are possible. Ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned. We'll be around tomorrow because this thing is not going to stop. It's Super Bowl week. I'm down here. It's pretty low key right now in Radio Row because people are getting ready for the media parties and stuff tonight. And I'm in here giving you this good content, right? Because that's what I'm here for. Tell me in the comments, tell me what you think about the hoodie, right? Nice light breather, giant issue hoodie. I might do a minimum run, like 100, 200 piece run if I get enough people who are really interested in purchasing the hoodie. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you're interested. As always, make sure you're going to New York Giants on SI to get all of your New York Giants news and information. Make sure that you are subscribing to the New York Giants on SI YouTube channel. I'm sorry I've been gone, but you know.